Hey, what's up, everybody? So we recently bought a fire pit, a propane burning fire pit, as pictured here, and we are just thrilled with our purchase. So I know there's a lot of options out there on the market for a fire pit. We decided to go with a propane as opposed to wood or gas. We liked the idea of it being portable, and we could kind of move the unit without having to hook into a gas line, and certainly look how clean it burns. So I just wanted to show you around this unit, and I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested. But here's kind of what it looks like upon arrival. Everything comes nicely, securely packaged. Everything's labeled, and there were no dents or anything crazy, no chips in the paint. Instruction manual, really easy to read. And right off the bat, I'm really impressed with the quality because everything is so tightly, securely packaged. So next we'll go ahead and lay everything out so you can get a feel for what the assembly looks like. It's really simple. It took me about 45 minutes total when it was all said and done. As far as hardware, all you need is a screwdriver. They give you the screws and even some extra screws in case you misplace one or drop one or something. And it's really a simple matter of taking the screws and putting them into the appropriate screw holes as shown here. And the instruction manual guides you through everything. But everything really, really nice quality. It's got a nice powder coating on it. The chrome looks really nice. No cracks in the rubber, hosing units or anything like that. So after everything visually checks out, it's the first step's pretty simple. You just line up the first leg on the table, and the tabletop is turned down, obviously, and you just screw those down lightly. You can tighten things up at a later step, and obviously the instruction manual guides you through all this. So we'll go ahead and put the second leg on. And here's more of a bird's eye view of what it looks like at this point. So next up we're going to take the other two legs and we're going to take this panel. It has a little notch in it for the control panel, the chrome control panel, which you'll add in a later step. But this part's pretty simple. You stand up the two legs as shown and you put the panel, and there's 3 separate screws and screw holes on each side. So 6 screws total. You tighten those down. And then you'll line up the holes for the other leg there as shown. And put a screw through those. And let's zoom out just a little bit. So here's what I just assembled, the 2 legs with the panel in between. All right, next step is a matter of sliding this, the chrome control panel there through the little knockout notch in that powder coated panel, and then aligning the screw hole for both legs as shown. And you'll tighten both sides down, so another 6 screws, and this is what you're looking at. All right, next up we have another panel to assemble. This one's labeled F in the instruction manual, and I'm going to put that in between the 2 legs. And you just drop that panel in. Be careful not to scratch the powder coating. Definitely take a look at my sweet socks that I have on. And you'll line up the holes and insert another 6 screws and tighten them down. Next up, take the other panel, also marked F, and you will drop that here and here in between these 2 legs. Again, 6 screws and tighten them down. All right, now we'll take the cylinder. There's a couple of poles and then the cylinder holder itself, which is another little panel with a circle, and then this little screw down thing that helps keep the cylinder from your propane tank in place. So we'll take the poles as shown here, align the holes up, and then put a screw through those. And here's the other side, what it looks like with the pole. And of course I'll tighten these up, and now both poles should be attached to the cylinder, the propane tank cylinder holder. And then I'm going to take this little nut thing here and just pop that in. You don't need to screw it all the way down at this point, but nice and tight so it doesn't fall out. So next up we can take the cylinder holder and we're going to actually put it as shown here Well, that was kind of a quick shot there, but the poles that we just put onto the cylinder holder attach to the legs themselves in a couple of different places. And so you might need to wiggle the legs a little bit to get those holes to line up. So if you did your legs, if you tightened your legs too tightly, you might need to untighten them just briefly so that these holes line up well. So let's zoom out for just a minute. Here's what that last step just looks like. So I just put that cylinder, the propane cylinder holder on. It's nice and firm, and that little wing nut thing is attached. Now this little piece is, I was confused by it at first, but it's basically when it's right side up and you put your hand in to turn off the propane tank, it's a blocker to make sure that your hand doesn't get burned on the bottom of the pit. So pretty smart, handy little thing here. So it's really easy to install, just a couple of screws and make those real tight, and then you're good to go. So now we have the last panel to install here. And this panel is actually the door. So it comes with this little doorknob, this little handle thing here with a screw. Can you see the screw right there on the back of it? So with your screwdriver, you can take that little screw out. It looks like this. And then you'll put the doorknob in, slide the screw through the hole there, and take the knob, and it just slides right on, screws on tight. Make sure that's nice and firm. You're good to go. All right, so we're going to take the door now, and we're going to take this little L bracket that came with the unit, and it slides on the bottom of the door just like that. Now it's going to look like the top, but it's actually the bottom, right? So here's the top. You can see that little nub, that little steel nub slides into that little hole. And then you take the L bracket, align them with the two holes on this leg right here. And as soon as you put screws in there, everything will firm up. It won't wiggle around on you. And so make sure these are nice and tight. You don't want the door making anything loose over time. And here's the bird's eye view of the unit at this point. And I'm going to take a moment and freeze the video right here. You can see at the bottom of the legs there's actually little holes for what I only assume to be wheels. So if you want to put wheels on the unit, there's nothing in the instruction manual that says this, but this would be a good time to put wheels on now. Otherwise you're going to have to turn the whole thing over later, but more on wheels later. So now we're at the point where we can turn the unit upright. You can see the lid on the top of the unit is taped pretty securely, so we can go ahead and peel that back. And here it is. Again, no dings or anything like that. Obviously, I was working on a carpeted surface, so you'll want to make sure you do that. Here's the lid. Everything's nice and smooth. The powder coating is really well done. Obviously, it needs a little bit of a cleaning, so I'll go ahead and wipe everything down. Now the lid just kind of comes off like this and reveals the cylinder. Everything brand new, looking really classy, and we're going to go ahead and dirty it up. It does come with, this particular fire pit does come with lava rocks, 2 bags of it, and something like 8 pounds, I believe. And obviously if you don't like the lava rocks, you can purchase them, new rocks or other rocks, separately. And I'll go ahead and put these in, taking care not to let the rocks fall too hardly so as to avoid scratching the powder coating on it. But I mean, classic lava rocks, I mean, nothing special, but they do look nice. Now this is going to be going, I think, on the outside of our home versus like under our screened-in porch. So we wanted more of a rugged look, and the lava rocks, I think, provide more of that outdoor type feeling, as opposed to like a cool blue rock. Like I know on Amazon they sell these like very bright or translucent colored fire pit rocks, and that was a little too contemporary for our look. But anyway, here's the unit all assembled with the rocks inside, the lid on, and it's actually moved it to the garage because I had this idea that we might want to put wheels on the bottom. Now I do not recommend this step, putting the wheels on after. Obviously I have the lava rocks in there, so I tape the lid on and then turn it upside down. Not recommended. Definitely put the wheels on in the previous step if you are looking to put wheels on. So handy little trick here, if you are looking to put wheels on, take the screws the spare screws that accompany the unit, and get yourself some wheels with some lockable features on it. And those spare screws that accompany the fire pit will actually be the ones that you fit right here into the center of the legs. Those are perfectly threaded for those. So if you're looking to buy wheels, take that spare screw to the hardware store and say, I need some wheels with the threads that match this. So here I am in the garage tightening up the wheels on all the legs. However, once we got the wheels on, we realized the unit was taller than we wanted it to be, and I didn't feel like going to the hardware store and buying smaller wheels. So it is what it is. Anyway, this is where our fire pit now lives, on a kind of our little side yard area here, and here it is all ready to go. So the next step is to open the door and time to put in the propane tank. Standard propane tank, nothing special at all. And so here's that little tightener. Once you put the propane tank onto the propane holder, it tightens up just to add an extra level of security to it in case it gets moved around and whatnot. Now, obviously, use due diligence here. Read the instruction manual. You're responsible for all your actions, but messing with propane can be serious business. The instructions actually recommend to do a water soap test to check for leaks upon arrival. Mine checked out, and so everything is ready to be started. So next up, we'll start it so you can see what it looks like. So I just turn the knob, and I'm going to hear a slight hiss, and then I'm going to turn it all the way. Keep the knob pressed down. It locks into place, and then you're free to adjust maximum or minimum setting. This thing puts out some serious flame, so please be careful. It's got about 50,000 BTUs. I was a little worried about the flame before I bought the unit. Is it going to be adequate? But it definitely is. Here it is, unit turned off. And end of the day, we could not be happier. It serves our needs. We made s'mores last night and really have absolutely no regrets. I mean, check it out. We love it. So thank you so much and hope this video has been helpful.